Aki-Bua, Ageri Lao. James Lenzi Kwek in a Tungla present rule and go away. Rico to Yomi Jorpe Yelon. One now Aki-Bua, Wape, or the Queen. Kale, Wape, Aki-Bua, Wape, or the Queen. Kale, Wape, one now put Wago Ramodo. One now Chatiwaya Ramodo.
My coach told me was that you know what you have come here for, and do not, at 200 meters, do not look at anybody, just run your race.
With 50 meters to go, Aki-Bua caught up as Hemery started to slow down.
That was the zone where a runner could win a race at 350 meters. And I found myself driving through and overtaking Hemery, and everything in front of me looked very easy. And the finishing line was getting too close. I passed the finishing line by another 30 meters. I was still running because I couldn't believe that I'd won the medal.
Not only had Aki-Bua beaten Hemery, who lost the silver to the fast-finishing Ralph Mann, he had also set a new world record as the first man to break the 48-second barrier and won his country's first ever Olympic gold medal.
We had not yet tested the winning feeling in international competition like the Olympics, and that was the first time. And back home here, everybody celebrated my win.
The transition between that chap in 71 to the beginning of 72, the guy is doing monster sessions. This is somebody who believes within themselves they have the ability to go under 48 seconds. And he wants to be the Olympic champion.
I started with lots of cross-country. I ran hard, twice a day. Then I set up 5 high hurdles every lap, put on my 25-pound weighted vest, and ran 1,500 meters over the hurdles 4 times. That was it. Every day, building stamina.
He's got back-to-back 600s. In a swift time, backed up after 10 minutes, another 2 sets of 600s with a 25-pound jacket on. And hold on, I'm not finished. He's going to simulate the last 100 meters of the race and have the hurdles in the way. Mate, I'm talking to you and you do not know what that is. That is a man killer.
Yeah, welcome my people, and here today we are live at Standard Mic TV. We bring to you story from different corners of the countries. So today we are focusing in Uganda. We have one of the legend called John Charles Aki-Bua, and this one was an athlete who won the gold medal Olympic at Munich. So I have a story. I have a museum here who knows better about John Charles Aki-Bua, and let us hear from him. Mr. Muse, can you introduce yourself to the audience there so that they know you better?
Okay, welcome viewers. You are viewing Mr. John Obong. I'm a retired civil servant. I worked both as a teacher and as a sports officer in two places. I first worked as a teacher in Kampala, then I joined the Uganda Railways as a Uganda Railways sports officer early in the 1980s. And then after that, I resigned from Railways. I came back to Lira Municipal Council where I got a job again as a sports officer. I'm currently retired and as you see now I'm doing some farming. This is my garden for tomatoes. We have some passion fruit over there and we have sukuma wiki here. This is what I'm now doing. You're welcome.
Okay, thank you very much, John. I can see a lot of activities that you are really doing. And since we are now in for the interview, people want to know who is John Charles Aki-Bua?
Well, John Charles Aki-Bua is very well known in the world, including Uganda. He is very well known. I know a lot about Aki-Bua.
Yes.
And in this interview, I'm going to reveal some things which many people don't know about Aki-Bua because I happen to have been a close person near him at the time when I was a sports officer in Kampala then.
Okay.
So, my experience is this. My first knowledge of Aki-Bua came in 1972.
1972.
Yes, that is when he got the gold medal. And of course he became famous all over the world, including Uganda here. Everybody heard about him.
By then
So,
you were doing what?
Well, I was in secondary school. I was in senior 2
Senior
in
two.
Kabalega Secondary School.
Okay.
So this time it was August 1972. I had come back home for holidays, second term holidays.
Okay.
That is when the Olympic event took place. And the first thing, I didn't know about him before, but just in the morning my father woke me up and said, you know what? There's a guy called John Aki-Bua who comes from Lango here, who has won a gold medal. He has been the best in the world in an event called running. Of course, I didn't know what it was, whether it was hard or what, but he said he got a gold medal. He was the first, and he has even broken a world record. So that was the time I heard about Aki-Bua. I was still a young boy. I think I was about 16 years old.
16 years.
Yes.
Okay.
And they tell us on the radio, I kept on listening on the radio, BBC, Voice of America, Voice of Germany, they were all talking about Aki-Bua. That's why I became interested in this man here.
Okay.
And what I remember is that his name was a household name in Uganda for a period of 1 month. Every day they were talking about it. In fact, when he came back from Germany after the gold medal event, he was welcomed at the airport and then also welcomed by Idi Amin, the then president of Uganda.
So it was the regime of Idi Amin?
Yes.
He won in the regime of Idi Amin?
Yes.
Okay, so the president went and welcomed him?
Welcome, not from the airport, but I think from his state house. That's where he was welcomed by Aki-Bua.
Okay.
I mean, he welcomed Aki-Bua.
He welcomed Aki-Bua.
Because I remember very well reading Uganda Gas. There was a newspaper called Uganda Gas where Amin said, I know Aki-Bua comes from Lango, from Aloy. Of course, he didn't come from Aloy. He comes from Abako. That's when I heard about more details about Aki-Bua. And that was that. Now I went on with my studies. I went up to Makerere and then I did my Bachelor of Science. And after Bachelor of Science, I did my postgraduate diploma in education. And I got a diploma in education in PE, that is physical education and mathematics. So I became a teacher. But later on, I got employed by Uganda Railways as a sports officer. So that is when I started interacting with Aki-Bua as a sports officer. Because we used to interact during national events, sports events, and I would see him there. I started seeing him physically then. That was 1982.
1982.
Yes. So that is when I started interacting with Aki-Bua as a sports officer. Because we used to interact during national events, sports event, and I would see him there. I started seeing him physically then. That was 1982.
1982.
Yes. Now, I happen to be in charge of buying equipment for sports in my office there. So I looked around. I said, where can I buy football equipment and sports gears?
Yeah.
Then I was told that Aki-Bua is an agent of Puma.
Puma.
There's a company in Germany called Puma, which I will come to that story later.
Okay.
So Aki-Bua was the agent of Puma, and he was selling very nice sports equipment. So I met him. I went to him physically, and I met him. And I told him, you know, I'm the sports officer of Uganda Railways. I'm called Mr. John Obong, and I'm coming to see what you have in your store as sports equipment. So he took me. He said, I have shoes. He just gave me some of the shoes. He said, I have these shoes, and I wanted shoes, football shoes, for my team in the Railways. So I made order for 33 pairs.
33.
Then he
So
said,
that one was your first time of seeing Aki-Bua physically?
yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how. No, I'd seen him earlier in his sports event.
Physically?
When there was national event there. He
Or
would be there as a guest or one or whatever.
Okay.
So, especially athletics competitions, I would go there. He was a trainer also.
Okay.
He was a national coach. So, I had seen him earlier, but this time it was more close because we were now interacting on a business.
Okay.
So, I made my order of 33 pairs of. He said, oh. I said, for us, we are going to pay later. But you can make order for Uganda Railways. Then he trusted me. He said, okay, it's okay. I know you are a sports officer. You cannot let me down. So he said, these shoes are in what? In his home. In his store. He had a store in his home. So he drove me in his car. It was a very nice car.
A car?
The car he was given, I think it was given by Amin.
By the state?
Left-hand drive. It was called Peugeot 504.
It was a very...
A left-hand drive, yes. So he drove me up to his home. I was welcomed by his family. Then we stayed there. Then he brought the shoes. And we packed the shoes in the boots. Then we brought it to railway. So I just went to inform my boss that I had to secure these boots because I was asked to secure them.
As a sport officer?
Yeah. Then he went with the Aki-Bua to the accountant for payment. Then accountant said, okay, you hold on. After a few days, we shall call you back and pay you. Payment will be prepared. We have acknowledged the receipt of the shoes. Yeah. So it took some time before he was paid. I think it was 2 weeks or so. So he came, one day he came physically to me and said, hey John, what has happened? I said, oh, they have been preparing. Let's go with you and then to the office. I took him to the office of the accountant. Then I said, you see, this Mr. Aki-Bua is supplied us these shoes, so he needs his payment. Okay. Said, oh, this is our boss. We respect you. Then they processed the payment and paid him.
Immediately?
Yeah, they paid him.
That one was the Uganda Railway?
Yeah, Uganda Railway.
Okay. Now as we summarize, because of time.
Yeah. I have some secret information which many people may want to know about Aki-Bua. Especially what I know about him during his Olympics in Germany.
Okay.
Aki-Bua was not the first in just being the gold medalist or what, not the number one only, but he was number one in many things there. First of all, the day before the final, there was a semi-final where he qualified very well for the final.
For the Olympics.
But during that semi-final, his knee hit the hurdle.
Okay.
And then he got an injury in the knee. Okay. There was a skin tear.
A skin tear?
Yeah. And it was so serious.
The day before final.
The doctor wanted to sew it, as I may say. But then the doctor said, no, let you now run just like that. In fact, for those viewers, if you one time watch a video on Aki-Bua finals of
the final of Olympics,
400 meters hurdle, You will find that at the end, you will see at the knee, in the knee, you will see a white patch of cotton.
Okay.
That was cotton wool, which was put to protect him from the wound.
Okay.
It is visible when you see it in the video.
I saw it.
Anybody who saw it, who sees it, will realize that. So that was the night before. Then again, another tragedy fell Aki-Bua. He started having toothache, very serious toothache, the night before. The night before. Then they removed the tooth. You can imagine, he underwent a lot of pain. Now, Aki-Bua started keeping quiet. He did not even want to talk to other members of the public, of the team. He was just sleeping. They didn't even want to eat, but people persuaded him, just eat. You will run maybe tomorrow, you will run well, eh?
With a tooth removed.
A tooth removed and a wounded knee.
Wounded knee.
Yeah.
A day before final.
The day before final.
Can you imagine?
So the following morning, Aki-Bua was saying, as he was saying in his Olympic village, 2 companies came with new pairs of shoes, golden shoes.
That one was in the morning.
One company was called Puma, and the other one is called Adidas.
Okay, Adidas.
Both of them offered to give him a free pair of shoes to run the final. You know, it was for their commercial purpose. Yeah, they wanted to advertise it. Now Aki-Bua was confused. People asked him, which are you going to run? He said, okay, I will decide later on. So, the final was going to take place at 4 p.m. in Munich, there, in the Munich Olympic Stadium. So, before that time, he walked to the stadium with the shoes, both shoes, of the Adidas on one side and Puma on one side. When he was about to reach the stadium, he decided to throw away Adidas. Threw it away, said, I'm going to run with Puma. That's how he came to run with Puma in the final. Yeah. Then, in the stadium there, you know, you pick up the lane number which you are going to run. There is lane 1 up to lane 8. And the lane 1 is the most difficult lane to run. Because the corners are very sharp. Nobody had won any medal in the first lane before him. Okay. So he chose, he picked.
At random?
At random he picked, as a lottery. All of the 8 of them were there. Okay. So each one picks what? A number.
A number.
So he picked number 1. You can see.
But number 1 is very difficult to run.
Very
and to win.
Very technical. It's very difficult to negotiate.
The corner is too sharp.
Too sharp, yeah.
Okay.
And many people do not know how to run that lane 1 very well. So again, that was another problem. That is the third problem.
So you had serious problems.
Serious problem. So when he picked it, no problem. It was just cool. Then when at the starting point, I read from a certain magazine that there was a Ugandan who was among the people in the stadium. So when the pistol was fired, would start on your mark, set, go. Yeah. Now, Aki-Bua rose with a lot of force and energy. And somebody among the stadium, a white man, said, who is that black, stupid man? How can you run like that? You look at that fool. You cannot finish like that. He's going to wear out. He's going to burn out before he finishes.
Before he finishes.
But that is
because he started with a lot of energy.
A lot of energy and very fast. Okay. Others started slowly, but they said he was going to burn out. Okay. But that's how he went. He kept on going.
Like and that.
If you see in the video of that running, he was jumping first before other people. Although he was behind, but you could see he was jumping the hurdles first before others were, which means he was ahead. Although people lane number 8 was far ahead in front of him. But of course, he had to run a different.
So, if you are seeing him in that video, you always see him as the last person.
You see him the last, but he's jumping first before the other jump the adult. Right?
So it means he is number 1.
Yes.
Okay.
So they did not even train the camera on him. They were ignoring him.
They denied him a camera.
The camera until the last bend when he jumped the adult together with other people. Okay. Including those people who were in lane 8 who had started earlier than him. So it means he was number 1. So Aki-Bua now jumped that second last hurdle as the first one. He was the first to land on the ground. Then he went to the last hurdle. He now jumped and he was 5 meters ahead of the second person. Okay. So later on, when he reached the finish line, he kept on jumping more hurdles. He was not even tired. As you can see if you watch that video.
After finishing.
Now he had another number one. First one, when he jumped, when he reached the finish line, he kept on jumping more hurdles. He was not even tired. And as you can see if you watch that video. So,
after finishing.
Now he had another number one. First thing he did in the world. After finishing, somebody handed to him a flag, Ugandan flag.
After finishing?
Somebody called him from the pavilion, said, hey, you come. Then gave him the Ugandan flag. Then he started hanging the Ugandan flag on top of him. He started running around. And that was the first time which has ever been done before. Even before Olympics, before that, nobody had run with the flag, national flag around them. Now these days, if you go for Olympics, you will see the number one. After finishing, they run around with
their home country flag. So Uganda was the first country to introduce that
running
style.
with the flag around the which is being done all over the world.
John Charles Aki-Bua.
Another number one which Aki-Bua did was that with jumping hurdles, you jump with one leg. But for him, he changed. For him, he used to jump with both legs. Whichever leg comes first, he would jump over using the forward leg. Would be either left or right. So he changed. And that was the first time in the world for Aki-Bua to do that.
The boy was very talented.
Yeah.
Now, by then he was around which age?
I understand he was 23 years. He was still a young man.
23 age?
Yeah, young man.
Okay.
Yeah. So when he came back, there was an American.
Okay. Now, before he came back, he can come back to Uganda. Now, what took place there? How far did he run? What time did he take
another thing. He was the first. He was number one. He got the gold medal. But secondly, he also won a new world record.
A new world record?
Yes.
After finishing it,
he was the first man to run under 48 seconds.
48 seconds?
He ran 47.82 seconds. That means he was the first person to run under 48 seconds.
So that one was a new world record?
That was also a number one.
A new world record?
Yes, a new world record. No, he shocked the world actually. Coming from a third world country where they say that sort of event cannot be run by a person from a third world country.
Who were those who were saying like that?
That's what many people had. That was the attitude people had. That
the whites?
It was such a technical running that it only required people from first world countries to run it because of the training and so on. But it is also a secret that Aki-Bua had beaten the world record when he was training in Kampala with his coach. But they kept the fact a secret. They kept the secret to themselves. They didn't want the world to know. He had already beaten the world record.
From the training?
During training, yes.
But
during trial, during national trial, yeah.
He didn't expose, they just kept it
secret. They kept it secret, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so coming to the end of it, after the gold medal, of course his name was everywhere. Then an American took interest, American coach, his coach, took interest in finding what really this man used, what tactics did he use, what food he ate. So he took a plane from USA to Germany to find Aki-Bua, only to find that he had already left for Uganda. He followed Aki-Bua up to Kampala in Uganda. Then he also started interviewing Aki-Bua, what sort of food he was eating, how he was training. He even went to the Aki-Bua's village here in Lang, in Aba.
The man was very interested.
He wanted to know the sort of diet. So he imported a lot of sorghum and millet to USA and started training another person there to challenge Aki-Bua.
With the same food that Aki-Bua used to.
The second Olympic was to take place in 1976, 4 years afterwards. From 72 to 76, 4 years. But now, what happened was, there was a political problem in the world. South Africa was not yet independent. The blacks were under pressure of the white people, apartheid system. So, it was, Amin was the chairman of Uganda, OAU at that time. So Amin said, if nobody should play games with South Africa, no country. If a country plays the game with South Africa, it should not go for Olympics. Now it so happened that New Zealand came and played rugby with South Africa. So Amin started making noise. As a chairperson of OAU, he said, Africa will not participate in Olympics if New Zealand is allowed to play in Olympics. That was 1976 Olympics. I think it was in Montreal in Canada.
Montreal in Canada. Okay.
So that time came, and I mean, still took. Actually, Aki-Bua trained so much. He was training with tires. He was with tires, very large tire of a lorry behind him, and he would run with it behind. The rope tied on it.
During training.
He trained.
Okay.
And even his jacket, he had put on sacks of sand. He would put on sand in the jacket.
Pack sand
and
in
run
the
with
jacket.
It, yeah, during training. He trained so hard. He wanted to break his own record and also break the world record. Now, coming to that event, people went. But Amin was very observant. He said, if New Zealand is allowed, we shall also. Now, Olympic Committee said, we are not political. We are an organization which is neutral. We don't side with any country. But Amin insisted. So, when in Montreal, they saw New Zealand with the flag also joining the other team. Amin called back Uganda. In fact, he would put on sand in the jacket.
Pack sand
and
in
run
the
with
jacket.
It, yeah, during training. He trained so hard. He wanted to break his own record and also break the world record. Now, coming to that event, people went. But Amin was very observant. He said, if New Zealand is allowed, we shall not. Now, Olympic Committee said, we are not political. We are an organization which is neutral. We don't side with any country. But Amin insisted. So, when in Montreal, they saw New Zealand with the flag also joining the other team. Amin called back Uganda. In fact, 20 other African countries boycotted the Olympics.
All 20 African countries?
Yeah, not all, but 20 countries out of 50. So, Amin happened to withdraw the Ugandan team, and that was the end. People were very frustrated. The whole world was annoyed because they wanted to see that was going to be the biggest struggle. That American had also clocked something very near Aki-Bua's record. So it was going to be a very, very big struggle. A very big struggle, huh?
What a strategy.
Now, Amin told Aki-Bua that, stay in Europe, you tour Europe first before you come back. And Aki-Bua watched the TV when the other man, I've forgotten his name, won a gold medal but also beat Aki-Bua's record.
But Aki-Bua was no longer there.
He was not in the competition. And Aki-Bua, I understand, cried in Kampala.
He cried?
He cried, yeah.
He never wanted
he was in London. He watched it from London.
So he never wanted his record to be beaten?
Of course he had prepared very well for it. I think, I even asked him one time, he said he was going to beat that man.
You can see the number of pain.
Going back to Uganda, Amin gave Aki-Bua a very big house in Kamocha. That house, that's where I went also.
Okay.
Amin gave him a house and that car. And he also received other gifts from other countries. But that time, there was not much money in running, but like these days. Otherwise, he would have got $1 million, like other people are now getting. Because he was a world champion.
He was a world champion.
Yeah, he was a world champion. So he was given a car and a house. That was very big. And I think the family is still in that house because although there was an Asian who came back to claim it. In fact, that year when Aki-Bua won the gold medal, that was the month when Amin had explained the Asians from Africa, from Uganda. All the Asians were left, and so that one of that house was belonging to an Asian, and that was given. So he has been claiming that house. I don't know how the matter has gone, but I think the government has still retained that house for Aki-Bua. They promised to pay the Indian, the Asian. So that's what I can say. That Aki-Bua was #1 in many things, not only in winning the Olympics.
Okay. Now, as we conclude, was Aki-Bua? What was the work of Aki-Bua in Uganda? He was only.
He was a police officer.
A police officer.
He never did police work because he was mainly concerned with sports. He was not doing his police duty.
Okay.
He was always training people. He was a national coach, and I think he was also a very highly ranked person in National Council of Sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Jones, the purpose of making this video and coming to you here is one. There is a discussion going on nowadays where Langi and the leaders of Langi are much demanding that Aki-Bua Stadium should be constructed and the government should construct this stadium in order to host the AFCON of 2027. And as the discussion has been going on, there is a kind of like taking this stadium from building Aki-Bua up to they want to go and build a stadium in Oima. Now, what is your advice, or how do you see this scenario which is now happening in Uganda?
Aki-Bua deserves that stadium. He deserves to be respected, to be remembered. There is no question about that. So, whoever decided to change the venue of building that stadium is a very wrong decision. My recommendation is that if the stadium be built in Lira, in Aki-Bua's birth district,
Okay.
where he was born. To remember him and also to appreciate the efforts of the Lang, because Lang region itself is very good in sports. We have people like Achon, who also went for Olympics. We have people like Wang, the brother. Very many Langis have been performing very well in athletics. So I would prefer that they build the stadium in Lira.
In Lira. At Aki-Bua.
At Aki-Bua, without doubt about it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Jones, for the advice and for the information that you have given us about Aki-Bua. So we were here not knowing who was Aki-Bua, how did he perform in Uganda. So my people here, let me come back to you. Yeah, you have been hearing from John, who have a very good knowledge about John Charles Aki-Bua because they were friends, they did business together, they did a lot of things together.
Somebody may ask, is Aki-Bua alive still?
Yeah, somebody may ask, is Aki-Bua still alive? Yeah.
Actually passed on in 1997.
1997?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of some natural causes.
That's about 26, 27 years back.
Oh yeah, about that one.
Okay.
Right.
No problem. So I urge you to, you the government, I urge you to go and construct Aki-Bua Stadium because it is much demanded by the Langi, not only Langi, the Northerners, even the friend of Aki-Bua, a young friend who is now, how old are you now? 61? 67 years old. But luckily enough, this man is still around. He's now 67 years, but he's also requesting the government to come and construct Aki-Bua Stadium at Lira district where Aki-Bua was born. So thank you very much, my viewer, for watching this video. Next time we shall also bring you more and more of the videos. I love you so much. Jones, can you greet the audience for the last video?
Okay, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You are a Jamani, who Jamanga. In the Dagua money, one bit of Binibo. In the Dagua walkie, one bit of Kirubo. And Cadolo Morabino, we need it. And now Conyo Dangabino, Kikute, Michorabino, Kikute, Mutaberabino, Lukila, Caramano Bina led, walkie, Dokama, you coping. Manu Tununa, Yingwania, my coping. Now where Aki-Bua, what am I coping? Can you look on Tio? Kobiwa, Unobanya Morotio Deno, Kobiwa, Kaina de la Don Lobatia, Bocarom, Ajoan now, Aki-Bua, Wape Ogero, Oloquipe, Kale, Wape Ogero, Wikirepe, Aki-Bua, Wape Ogero, Oloquipe, Kale, Wape Ogero, Wikirepe, one now put Wagulu Ramodoko, one now Chatiwaya Ramodoko.
Aki-Bua Cao Gero, que lo biachara y lao.